Hills of the North Rejoice, published in Ancient and Modern Hymns and Songs for Refreshing Worship, number 39. A global hymn of hope. At the time of writing, much of the United Kingdom is in lockdown again because of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the aim of protecting as many people from its potentially destructive effects. Even with the recent announcements of a return to the tiered restrictions and to a limited freedom for some family groups to meet over Christmas, we are having to adjust to a very different way of life for months to come. And yet signs of hope for restoring some kind of normal life are in the air. Various vaccines have proved effective thus far, and though they still have some hurdles to jump, we can look forward to a gradual restoration of our social and working lives, albeit in a more cautious form. So, what might we have learnt from all this? First, we are a global community, such that when one community suffers, all are affected. Equally, when one community finds solutions, all can benefit. Second, in a world deeply scarred by human divisions and conflicts, science is not enough to bring salvation. Indeed, the very way it can be used to heighten these divisions, for example, online abuse or in use of drones in war zones, shows that our problems are not really due to inadequate science or scientific endeavour, but to human selfishness and sin. Science itself is a powerful tool, both for healing and for harm. Third, a positive message of hope needs to look beyond humanity to the ground of our being, to enable all races and faiths to work together in building our hope on a foundation that is united and rock solid. I find these key themes in my choice of hymn, though originally written in a very different age from ours. This hymn, based on words by Charles Oakley, celebrates positively that we are indeed a global community. North, south, east and west bring many differing wonders and resources that can be shared by all of humanity. And we are equally vulnerable to the global dangers of viruses and other ills, not least the extreme weather events which are a result of climate change. The version quoted above has been adapted, so it's useful to compare this with Oakley's original, though there's not enough space to explore this fully here. I suggest you have a look at the useful hymnary website, which enables you to compare the different versions. What struck me was that there are both gains and losses in these updated versions. Take the final verse. Oakley's version has, and I've highlighted the words in the text, "Shout while ye journey home, songs be in every mouth. Lo, from the north we come, from east and west and south. City of God, the bond are free. We come to live and reign in thee." Where the updated version ends with the relationship of all to Jesus, finding their rest in him, a distinctly passive relationship, Oakley's original speaks of the broader social vision, of the city of God, and of the bond are free. That is, all corners of the globe suffer from bondage of one kind or another, to failing economies and poverty, to human trafficking and slavery, to racist bias or violence, to sexism, domestic abuse, to political and judicial fraud, etc. And all need the liberty of the city of God. Oakley, for a brief time a rector of St. Paul's Covent Garden before his untimely death aged 33, was born in 1832 at a time when the slavery abolitionist movement was coming to a head, and the Slavery Abolition Act was passed and came into force in 1834. His hymn reflects a growing knowledge of the sheer diversity and scale of the world, as well as its need of liberty. While it's fair to critique Oakley's original as being of its time, reflecting a view of much of the world as being, and I quote, unvisited, unblessed, verse 4, or long, cold and grey, here's verse 5. And so it requires some language to be updated from soon shall your sons be free, verse 4 again. It's striking that his final verse has, lo from the north we come, from east and west and south, we not they. The saving love of God revealed in Jesus Christ and the hope of the new kingdom centered in the city of God is needed and promised to us all inclusively. We are invited to join in this song of liberation wherever we live in the world. As we necessarily update substantial hymns like this one to express our current aspirations, the challenge is to find social, political, and religious language that nurtures human diversity while also drawing people together in a fundamental unity, as we strive to advance towards the universal hope of God's kingdom for all of us, north, south, east, and west.